Hey there guys, what's happening and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have an exciting cartoon recap lined up for discussion. We'll be discussing the entire series of Samurai Jack from seasons 1 to 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more recaps like this. The first episode of season 1 starts with the exciting moment of a solar eclipse. This eclipse has an unusual impact, signaling the return of Aku. Meanwhile, not too far away, a Japanese emperor recounts the story of Aku to his son. He narrates how Aku had attacked their land but was eventually defeated. However, Aku comes back, capturing the emperor after an intense battle. The empress manages to escape with her son and entrusts him to a ship's captain. As time passes, a young prince grows up without his father, encountering various cultures during his journeys. After exploring different parts of the world, he reconnects with his mother as an adult. She restores his rightful inheritance, his father's sword, and a YG. He honed his swordsmanship skills with rigorous training and readied himself to return home and liberate his people. In the meantime, Aku enslaved the land's inhabitants, particularly the emperor. When the prince finally arrived, he effortlessly defeats Aku's minions and rescues the emperor. The prince then challenges Aku in a stronghold, leading to a fierce confrontation. Throughout the battle, Aku transforms into different animals. After a strenuous struggle, the prince emerges victorious, imprisoning Aku using the sword. However, Aku opens a time portal with a piercing screech, hurtling the prince into a distant future. In this bleak future, Aku's malevolent rule dominates the planet. Our protagonist then faces an immediate challenge in the future world filled with advanced technology and aliens. Upon his arrival, he deftly evades cars thrown his way, showcasing impressive acrobatics. Three aliens take notice of that and fondly name him Jack. They lead him to a peaceful spot amidst a world unfamiliar to him. He's taken him back inside a bar to find that the patrons are all aliens. Amidst a scuffle, the prince skillfully disarms his opponents. Jack later teams up with the archaeologists who recognize his skills. They aim to thwart Aku's reign of terror. They strategize, lay traps, and forge weapons for the impending battle, bracing themselves for the confrontation. He liberates the archaeologists, setting the stage for future challenges and drawing Aku's anger. Jack soon finds himself on a path that intersects with the Woolies, playful creatures causing issues for the Creatureites, a race of aliens. Jack captures the mischievous Woolies, but delves deeper into the situation by following them to their kingdom. Here, he witnesses the mistreatment of the Woolies, akin to a circus sideshow. Disturbed by their plight, Jack has a dream in which a Woolie implores him for aid. Upon waking, Jack takes action, sneaking into a Woolie's enclosure. Upon the Woolie's plea, he sets it free. Jack learns from an elder Woolie Lazor that the Creatureites are the true invaders, enslaving Woolies with an orb. Determined to help, Jack teams up with the Woolies to destroy the orb atop a rocket. Battling against the Creatureites, Jack succeeds in obliterating the orb, securing the Woolies' liberation. With their freedom restored, the Woolies express gratitude, and Lazor points Jack towards his destiny, a path that continues to intertwine with the threads of fate. Jack later seeks a wish-granting well. Vikings led by a chief attempt to reach it, but face skilled archers along the way. Jack learns of the well's power and faces the archers himself. Through a clever plan, he bests them and realizes their tragic history. Jack wishes the well's dark spirit to be eradicated, leading to its destruction. He departs, having thwarted the well's malevolence. Jack's inner struggles materialize into a physical form, creating an evil and chaotic version of himself called Mad Jack. A thrilling battle ensues as Mad Jack wreaks havoc, reflecting Jack's internal conflict. Jack eventually confronts and defeats his darker self, illustrating his resolve and self-mastery. Through dynamic action and symbolism, Jack vs. Mad Jack showcases Jack's determination to overcome his own demons and stay true to his honorable path. While crossing a bridge, Jack encounters a fierce warrior known as the Scotsman. They initially clash, but eventually join forces against a common enemy an army of mechanical beetles. Through their humorous banter and impressive combat skills, they manage to overcome the beetle threat. Despite their differences, Jack and the Scotsman develop a mutual respect, and their collaboration showcases the power of unity in the face of adversity. The episode highlights the theme of unlikely alliances and the strength that can arise when individuals put aside their differences for a greater cause. Jack later seeks to master the art of jumping long distances to reach Aku's lair. He encounters a tribe of blue and white apes with incredible jumping abilities. He befriends a wild individual with the same skills and learns about the tribe's peaceful lifestyle. However, they face constant threats from larger red apes that steal their food. Jack intervenes by defeating the rival red ape tribe. He offers to teach the blue apes defensive skills in return for their jumping knowledge. Jack demonstrates how to create traps and wield weapons while the apes put him through rigorous exercises to enhance his jumping abilities. Once he masters these techniques, Jack can effortlessly leap to great heights. After completing his training, Jack leaves the tribe feeling confident in his newfound jumping skill. But when the rival tribe returns for another attack, Jack rushes back to assist the blue apes. To his surprise, they fully repel the invaders. Jack's wild friend warns the rival tribe to stay away, sending them flying by the blue apes. With Jack's mission accomplished, he confronts Aku again near a time portal. Aku races the portal to block Jack, but undeterred, Jack uses his enhanced jumping skills to leap high into the air, catching him off guard. Jack humorously corrects Aku's assumption that he can fly and proudly declares his ability to jump well. The episode concludes with Jack preparing to face Aku in an imminent battle. Jack is soon targeted by bounty hunters in a tavern due to his wanted status. The Scotsman comes to his rescue, explaining that Celtic demons have captured his wife. The Scotsman seeks Jack's help to save her, and after passing a test of strength, they set out on their journey. They successfully rescue the Scotsman's wife from the demons, who showcases her remarkable strength as well. Jack then encounters destroyed villages and learns of destructive attacks by assassins. He discovers 8 transforming ultra robots with diverse weapons. Despite their formidable capabilities, Jack defeats them with the assistance of a cybernetic power gauntlet. He faces a final katana-wielding ultra robot and, through a prayer to his ancestors, gains the strength to triumph. As the ultra robots explode, Jack notices Aku's essence and destroys it. This causes Aku to stress on the other side, revealing Jack's power. The episode ends with Extor, the robot's creator, congratulating Jack on his victory with a high five. Soon after, Jack lands himself in an intense battle with a group of robotic felines known as Cossacks. These felines pursue Jack while riding robotic flying insects. Jack defeats most of the pursuing robots through clever maneuvering and skilled combat. He engages in a jousting battle with the last remaining Cossack, emerging victorious. As a result, Jack earns the gratitude of a group of robed beings who are oppressed by the Cossacks. After this encounter, Jack continues on his journey. Jack faces diverse challenges and landscapes throughout his travels, ranging from grasslands to mountains. He stumbles upon a ruined statue that triggers memories from his past. This leads him to his old home, now in ruins. He reflects on his childhood, including interactions with a young girl, and reminisces about witnessing a skilled Ronin defeating shadowy figures on a bridge. These memories stir deep emotions within Jack. His reminiscing brings tears to his eyes as he recalls moments from his past, including an incident where bullies took his ball. Amidst these memories, Jack is interrupted by a distressed robot seeking his aid. The robot informs him that its village is under attack. Motivated to help, Jack leaves his past behind and sets out to assist the village. He remembers an image of his parents, seemingly looking across time with pride at the person he's become. This signifies Jack's connection to his past and legacy, showcasing his empathetic and determined nature. This introspective episode provides insight into Jack's character, willingness to help, and ability to confront his own history. Jack's adventure takes an unexpected turn when a mischievous rabbit steals his clothes. Jack starts by battling a robotic slug monster in a swamp, which leaves him covered in mud and slime. He cleans himself off in a waterfall, only to notice that a white rabbit has made off with his gi, his traditional attire, and sword. Determined to retrieve his belongings, Jack chases the rabbit, but the pursuit leads him to fall into a deep hole. When he regains consciousness, Jack finds himself in an underground city. To blend in and avoid suspicion, he knocks out a thief and wears their clothes. Unfortunately, this leads to him being mistaken for a cat burglar by the locals. He's chased by the angry mob who believes that he's stolen their cat. Jack is rescued by a balloon taxi in a stroke of luck, although it's too heavy to ascend very high. While navigating the city, Jack spots the rabbit again and gives chase. This leads to another encounter with the mob. Jack's pursuit takes him to a stage where he accidentally dresses as a woman. Mistaking a dragon prop shadow for an enemy, Jack attacks it. The chase continues as Jack follows the rabbit and boards a centipede train. However, due to a case of mistaken identity, he loses his costume and attracts the attention of the police for being almost naked. Eventually, Jack tracks the rabbit onto a train, but the mob again confronts him. His attempt to control the train ends in a crash. Despite the chaos, Jack keeps chasing the rabbit into a jungle where he discovers a hidden door. To his surprise, he finds that the rabbit is actually a backpack belonging to a hungry girl. Her plight touches Jack, prompting him to help her. He retrieves the robotic slug tusks that she can sell, thus aiding her in her time of need. Throughout this episode, Jack showcases his adaptability in various situations, his unwavering determination to retrieve his belongings, and his compassionate nature when he helps the girl. Jack's noble spirit leads him to aid an army of nearly 300 Spartans in their fight against an army of mechanical minotaurs. He intervenes in a battle between 300 Spartans and mechanical minotaurs near a narrow passage. Saving a lone Spartan prince from being overwhelmed, Jack witnesses the robots retreating, knowing they'll return. After meeting the Spartan king and general, Jack explains his motivation for helping. The king reveals that a mechanical creature resembling an octopus is causing destruction and seeks to invade their kingdom. While the robots have besieged the kingdom for generations, the Spartans manage to hold their ground in a narrow ravine, preventing an invasion. Despite their successes, the Spartans are weary from constant battle and fear that the robots will eventually breach their defenses. Inspired by Jack's presence, he suggests a new plan. A small platoon can use a mountain pass to infiltrate the creature's base and attack from within. Encouraged by Jack's idea, the Spartan king and Jack infiltrate the creature's stronghold, engaging in a fierce battle. Their combined efforts weaken the monster, and the king delivers the final blow that destroys the creature and its robotic minions. During this battle, Jack sacrifices himself to protect the king. Years later, the Spartan king recounts his tale on his deathbed, emphasizing Jack's bravery and suggesting that he may have survived. The king's son, now a father himself, listens alongside the people, ensuring that Jack's memory is preserved alongside the legacy of the 300 Spartans. Jack's silhouette emerges from the smoke of the destroyed fortress, leaving his fate open to interpretation. Jack's quest for an appropriate footwear takes center stage in the 13th and final episode of the second season. The episode opens with Jax relaxing by a stream when he narrowly avoids being run over by a robotic biker gang. In the process, they accidentally destroy his geta, his traditional wooden sandals. Jack confronts the gang, realizing he needs proper footwear to combat them effectively, given their armored gear and the challenging environment. The gang departs, and a store owner Jack had previously assisted offers him any type of footwear from the store. This triggers a series of comical events as Jack tries various types of shoes, each with its own absurd drawbacks. During a search, Jack comes across a boy wearing geta and follows him to a jet repair shop. He meets the boy's father, a Japanese jet engine mechanic. The family's lifestyle and values remind Jack of ancient Japan. Impressed by Jack's character and believing he can defeat Aku, the family offers him assistance in any way they can. Jack discovers that the father has the skill to craft a pair of geta for him. As he spends time with the family, he forms a connection with them. As a gesture of gratitude, Jack gives the father a traditional Japanese suggestion in the form of a conical hat. With his newly crafted geta, Jack races off to confront the biker gang once again, who are less confident when they see his improved footwear. Season 3 kicks off with a mysterious wizard gaining easy access in the city while Jack consumes chicken soup from his stand. The wizard's magic transforms Jack into a chicken after a slight collision. Jack's unawareness leads to a failed confrontation, leaving him mocked. Discovering his reflection and another transformed victim, Jack seeks the wizard amidst quirky characters. However, he's captured by Cacciatari, who runs an underground creature fighting club. Jack fights various beings, including a giant rat named the Finisher. Victorious, he becomes the club's main attraction. Cacciatari's feast attracts Jack's hunger. Later, a promoter invites Cacciatari to a fight, leading to comical transformations by the wizard. Jack returns to the stand, opting for shrimp instead of chicken. From his towering stronghold, Aku watches as Jack walks, his anger evident at Jack's unyielding resilience. Jack reaches a crossroad and uses a stick to decide his path. Aku manipulates the stick's direction, leading Jack into a fog-covered cemetery. Aku raises zombie warriors, defeated and revived repeatedly. A ghostly hag possesses Jack's sword, but Aku takes it. Aku transforms and attacks Jack in various forms, including a scorpion, a Chinese dragon, a praying mantis, and a tentacled mass. Cornered, Jack's sword proves invulnerable to Aku's strikes due to its purity. Jack strikes back and slashes Aku in half, sending him fleeing as a tiny mouse. Jack realizes that his sword cannot harm innocents or be used for evil. Jack resumes his destiny as the sun rises over the cemetery, leaving Aku retreating again. Jack is then directed to Kojima and is accompanied by a guide. They traverse the foothills and a land bridge to reach a mystical lake. Jack discovers that the water is incredibly dense, making him sink really fast. Just then, small one-eyed robed creatures summon a massive lake creature to transport them and Jack to an island. The creatures introduce the ancient and wise lake creature to Jack. With the sword noticed, the lake creature guides Jack upstream to a mountain range. There, a six-legged mountain creature joins them, discussing Jack's identity. After overcoming shadowy monsters on a cliffside, Jack proceeds to a flying creature that takes him across a wasteland to a field of machinery ruins. Following a shiny light, Jack encounters the time passage and meets the Guardian. The Guardian explains that only one man can defeat him and control the portal, to which Jack isn't the one. Jack, however, disagrees, challenging the Guardian as a result. They engage in a fierce battle, with Jack ultimately defeated. Just as the Guardian prepares to end Jack's life, a sound from the time portal stops him. The Guardian whistles for the flying creature, which rescues Jack. The Guardian watches Jack's departure, implying that Jack isn't ready for the portal yet. The portal shows an image of an older, scarred, and bearded Jack. Spoiler alert, guys. Jack rests in a grove when he realizes he's on the back of a giant creature. They develop an odd companionship, although the creature's behavior annoys Jack. Despite his irritation, Jack allows the creature to accompany him. After a long journey, they reach a crystal that has the power to send Jack back in time. However, the creature eats the crystal, preventing Jack's return. Angry, Jack plans to part ways with the creature. In the next episode, Jack seeks mystical artifacts with a hermit's guidance. Unbeknownst to Jack, the hermit is actually Aku in disguise. They collect the Eye of Cronus, the Fist of Ability, and the Fist of Might. As they assemble the artifacts, Cronus is revived. The hermit commands Cronus to attack Jack, but Jack outsmarts him, revealing he had taken the Eye of Cronus earlier. Jack battles Aku, and the artifact's power is eventually destroyed, forcing Aku to flee once again. Jack keeps the Eye of Cronus, reminding Aku that it's only a matter of time before he defeats him. In a distant scene, a vast and evil black mass emerges in the depths of space, threatening to engulf the entire universe. Three ancient gods, Odin, Ra, and Rama, arise from a nearby star and fight fiercely against this darkness. They use their divine powers and weapons to combat the threat and eventually manage to destroy most of it. However, a fragment of the darkness survives and lands on Earth, causing the extinction of dinosaurs and transforming into a black tar-like pool with spikes. Over time, this sinister pool grows and engulfs many living beings in its path, encroaching upon civilization. The Japanese emperor, seeing the destruction caused by the expanding darkness, decides to confront it. Despite his wife's pleas, he sets out with an elite cavalry and a poison elixir believed to be a solution to the menace. As he ventures into the forest where the pool resides, the ground comes to life with spikes that kill his men. Undeterred, however, the Emperor reaches the center of the forest and uses a poisoned arrow ignited by the sun to pierce the heart of the pool. Unexpectedly, however, the elixir grants life to the darkness instead of destroying it. It is here that a monstrous being named Aku emerges from the pool, wreaking havoc. The Emperor's attempts to fight Aku fail, and he inadvertently becomes the source of Aku's entrance into the world. Aku unleashes destruction upon the kingdom, and the Emperor is left helpless, bound to a tree. Odin's horse Sleipnir rescues the Emperor and takes him to a mountain where he meets Ra, Rama, and Odin in their divine forms. They explain Aku's nature and extract the Emperor's pure spirit to forge the enchanted sword that Samurai Jack wields. Armed with the sword and renewed armor, the Emperor confronts Aku. He manages to harm Aku with the enchanted sword, which is immune to Aku's defenses. The Emperor battles with Aku, utilizing his newfound power to fight back. Aku transforms into various forms, but the Emperor persists. He slashes Aku's head off, but Aku reforms into an army of warriors. The Emperor defeats them, ultimately imprisoning Aku with the enchanted sword. The Emperor returns to his wife, holding their newborn son, and vows to be prepared if Aku ever returns. In a dark temple, we see a shinobi stealthily approaching Jack as he prays, but it turns out to be a training simulation set up by Aku. Aku instructs the shinobi to go after the real Jack. Observing Jack, the ninja witnesses the samurai defending a village from a swarm of robot worms. Jack embarks on a quest to find the youngster when a child goes missing after the battle. During a search, the shinobi attack leads to a dynamic showdown between light and shadow as the sun sets. Ultimately, Jack prevails in the end. The Scotsman suddenly discovers Jack aboard a ship with his memory completely blanked out. Refusing to let Jack think that he's an ordinary person named Brent, the Scotsman sets out to discover what caused the samurai to suffer his amnesia. On top of that, he staves off bounty hunters after a now defenseless Jack not only is without a sword, but forgets how to wield one, much less fight. A ship emerges from the fog, revealing an island with a head-shaped mountain. Shipwrecks surround the island. Unnoticed, the ship runs aground, and the crew disembarks under a captivating song's influence. The Scotsman joins them into a cave leading to a treasure-filled cavern where the sirens sing. The Scotsman resists their spell, angered by their singing. He questions them about Jack's fate. They erase his mind, making him a wandering fool, keeping his belongings as a prize. Enraged, the Scotsman attacks the sirens with grenades and his gun leg. The sirens send their enslaved slaves to counter them. The Scotsman tries to free them through his bagpipes' music. Realizing that he can break the spell, he plays his pipes loudly, snapping everyone back to their senses. The sirens merge into a serpent, capturing and crushing the Scotsman. Brent remembers his true identity as Samurai Jack, rescuing the Scotsman as a result. Despite being free of the spell and recounting their adventures, the ships that belong to the slaves have left the island, but to their great fortune, they find a rowboat. The two engage in a contest to determine who rows the boat, in which Jack wins. More contests follow, all won by Jack. A thumb wrestling match becomes decisive, with Jack ultimately winning, conceding victory. Together, they row back to the mainland. In a rainy city, an old-fashioned car with a robotic driver named X-49 plays a techno trumpet solo. He reflects on his conflicting emotions and recounts his origin. X-49 was part of a series of robotic assassins created to serve Aku. Unlike the others, however, X-49 developed emotions and a sense of morality, leading him to oppose their destructive actions. He met Lulu, a pug dog, and retired as a result, finding solace in music and companionship. Lulu was kidnapped by the Deliverer of Darkness, forcing X-49 back into action to defeat Samurai Jack. X-49 infiltrates a decommissioned beetle robot factory to confront the samurai. They engage in a battle amidst the factory's steam and assembly lines. X-49 mistakenly shoots an old X-Series robot and is ambushed by the samurai. Defeated, X-49 hears Lulu's voice telling him to take care of her. The samurai ends X-49's existence. The episode closes with a shot of Lulu's picture in X-49's car. Subsequently, in Season 5, we leap forward by 50 years, encountering a dramatic explosion followed by a chase featuring Aku's spider-like robot and an unsuspecting extraterrestrial mother with her child. Enter Jack, now sporting a beard and a more intense demeanor. With swift action, Jack defeats the spider robot, saving the aliens in the process. We discovered that Jack remains unaged due to the time travel's effects. Mounted on his motorcycle, Samurai Jack navigates a dystopian landscape amidst distant explosions. A momentary pause for a drink triggers memories of his father. In a vision, his father seeks help while his family questions his absence. Amid his reverie, a horde of zombies marches by, accompanied by nightmares of a dark horse riding nemesis. Back at his camp, Jack cooks a rat, haunted by visions of his father engulfed in flames. Aku's tyrannical rule persists as he places 7 daughters on his pedestal for obedience. The once babies, now young girls, and Aku's daughters undergo combat training. The condition for their honoring by Aku is their success in training. Samurai Jack enters a leveled village and faces Scaramouche the Merciless, Aku's favorite assassin. Lacking a sword, Jack uses his fists. Employing a rock monster, Jack engages in combat. Jack's voice finally emerges as he encounters children in his vision and pleads, "Please understand." The vision of the horseman resurfaces. Jack acquires Scaramouche's sword during their battle, ultimately defeating him. In Aku's domain, the daughters of Aku hone their skills. The episode concludes with Aku's daughters dispatched to eliminate Samurai Jack. Awakening to an alarm, Aku performs characteristic stretches. A group of mudmen express gratitude to Aku, who were met with his discontent. Aku's henchmen present their plan to eliminate Samurai Jack despite Aku's feigned indifference. We find Aku venting about Jack's persistent existence at a therapist's office. Aku expected Jack's demise, surprised by his perpetual youth. Outside, Jack embarks on his motorcycle, confronted with a choice at a fork in the road. Pausing to gaze at the forest, Jack senses vibrations. He readies himself and confronts a massive insect. Victorious over the insect, Jack encounters invisible attackers. He fends them off with potent automatic weapons. Disarmed, Jack awakens, realizing it was a dream. Weaponless, haunted by his father's urging to surrender, Jack persists, escaping into the open, pursued by the daughters of Aku. Jack discovers a city resembling Angkor Wat and seeks refuge within. The daughters trail him into a labyrinth building. Though pursued, Jack remains elusive within the building's maze. Ultimately cornered, Jack faces the daughters in a grand chamber. Engaged in combat, Jack defeats some but is outnumbered, necessitating escape. During the battle, Jack manages to overpower one daughter, revealing her face as she falls. Wounded, Jack acquires her weapon, escaping through a river. The episode concludes with flashes of a lone attacked wolf, eventually revealing the wolf lifeless. Jack, severely injured, drifts down the river and clings to a floating log. A frog warns him about the pursuing daughters of Aku. He reaches shore and enters a cave while a mysterious samurai trails him. Inside, Jack removes a knife from his side and loses consciousness. He has a hallucination of himself discussing his first human kill, and Jack denies wanting the daughters to kill him. The next morning, a bloody and weakened Jack readies himself for a showdown. A bloodied wolf previously encountered enters the cave, and Jack faints. In a memory, Jack recalls his father defending their family from outlaws. Awakening again, Jack befriends the wolf and recovers. Following his father's lesson, Jack leaves the wolf and readies for another encounter with the daughters. Meanwhile, the 6 remaining daughters leave a fallen comrade behind and trace Jack's blood. They encounter a deer, misunderstanding its nature. As snow falls, Jack confronts them, echoing his father's words. He impales a daughter with a spear and uses the terrain to his advantage, killing 2 more in the process. The 3 remaining daughters merge, but Jack separates them, causing 2 to fall from a cliff. He faces the last one, Ashi, and disarms her, seemingly causing her death. As a tree collapses, Jack plummets into a valley below. In the next episode, having survived the fall, Jack discovers the deceased daughter of Aku haunted by guilt. The birds in the background appear judgmental. Another daughter of Aku attacks with a chain in Jack's dream, but he captures her. She clings to her belief in Aku's goodness. A tremor sends both flying, and Jack rescues her in midair. They land inside a massive creature. Inside, the daughter, Ashi, launches an attack, leading to a struggle. Jack subdues her, prompting introspection on Aku's influence. They face crab-like creatures. Jack saves Ashi and carries her to safety. Amid the internal conflict, another creature captures Ashi and Jack rescues her again. In pursuit of an escape, Jack and Ashi traverse the creature's interior, encountering mesmerizing environments. They ascend through a fantastical region, evading a predatory organism. Eventually emerging, they land in the water. Jack places Ashi down, and her weapon comes into her possession. A tense moment ensues, but Ashi's vision of a ladybug triggers a flashback, leading her to drop her weapon. We witness a Scottish army, supported by women playing bagpipes, confronting Aku's stronghold. Aku emerges as a fireball, decimating the entire army. The leader of the army, revealed to be an aged Scotsman, confronts Aku, leading to his demise. The daughters vow revenge, and the Scotsman returns in spirit to plan Aku's downfall. Meanwhile, Ashi observes Jack, torn apart by her decision. A vision of the High Priestess reinforces Aku's authority. Jack awakens, enlisting Ashi's aid on a sea creature. They journey to land, with Jack parting ways with Ashi. She insists on proving Jack's goodness. Jack showcases the devastation caused by Aku, demonstrating his evil influence over the world. Ashi becomes a believer, but Jack remains despondent. They encounter a wounded creature who tells them about kidnapped children powering a mega robot factory. Infiltrating the factory, they find mind-controlled children, and Ashi frees them after a confrontation with the Dominator guard. The children seemed dead due to their implants malfunctioning, causing Jack intense grief. He sees the mysterious samurai horseman and follows him out of the facility. Ashi finds the children alive, but found that Jack is missing. In the next episode, Ashi boards a blimp, traversing the vast terrain in search of Jack. She crosses paths with two figures reminiscent of the Woolies during her journey. Engaging in conversation, the Woolies recounted a tale about Samurai Jack. In their narrative, they revealed how Jack bravely risked his life to rescue them from the clutches of slavery, earning their eternal gratitude. This anecdote solidifies Ashi's unwavering commitment to Jack's cause. Inspired, she takes a bold leap from the blimp and embarks on her mission to find him. Within the forest, Ashi encounters a group of archers who associate with Jack. These archers, familiar with Jack's exploits, warmly welcome Ashi, proclaiming that a friend of Jack is a friend of theirs. As they lead her to their dwelling, they divulge how their very existence owes itself to Jack's selfless actions. Bound by a curse to guard an evil castle, these archers were liberated by the sword of Samurai Jack. Instead of capitalizing on their newfound freedom, Jack released them from the curse, even at the cost of furthering his own journey. Since that moment, their paths may not have crossed with Jack's, but they pledged their support to both Jack and Ashi in any further quests. Continuing her journey, Ashi stumbled upon a vibrant gathering resembling a concert, teeming with myriad creatures. Upon learning of Ashi's quest to locate Samurai Jack, they recount their own tales of how Jack had saved them, even inspiring a dedicated dance in his honor. Amidst her travels, Ashi experiences a poignant flashback. It's revealed that the inky covering shrouding her skin isn't uniform, but rather the residue of burnt coal. The traumatic memory resurfaces, detailing a young Ashi's agonizing ordeal as she was subjected to fire as an act of devotion to Aku. Motivated to break free from this painful reminder, Ashi sheds the coal, eventually fashioning a dress from plant materials to clothe herself. Her journey leads her to a bar where she encounters a bartender whose knowledge and skills were imparted by none other than Samurai Jack. Outside the bar, Ashi crosses paths with a character who shows her how to locate Jack. As Ashi searches a woodland expanse, she faces Jack in what seems to be a cemetery. Simultaneously, the narrative shifts back to the old city from the series' debut episode. Scaramouche, previously defeated by Jack, miraculously survives their encounter and finds himself within Aku's domain. Discovering a communication device, Scaramouche contacts Aku to relay the news of Jack's lost sword. However, his conversation is abruptly interrupted by a group of canines, preventing him from sharing his revelation with Aku. Back in the cemetery, a formidable warrior astride a horse appears, summoning fellow warriors and declaring that Jack must meet his end, having supposedly failed to fulfill his purpose. As the warrior contemplates ending his own life, Ashi intervenes, preventing his demise and persuading him to reject the warrior's misguided notions. The warrior, no longer willing to heed their counsel, acknowledges Ashi's determination and prepares to confront them. Amid this confrontation, Ashi faces a grave threat only to be rescued by the awakening of Jack. With renewed strength, Jack defeats the warrior, liberating both Ashi and the other warriors from their unending cycle. Jack then affirms to Ashi that the time has come to reclaim his sword and recommence his quest. Jack recounts the story of how he lost his sword to Ashi in a flashback to 50 years ago. He climbed a mountain with 3 rams, found a time portal, and was pulled back by Aku. Aku then revealed that the time portal was the last remaining in existence, leaving Jack trapped in the future forever. Angry, Jack fought monstrous rams created by Aku, resulting in his sword being perched over the portal pit. When the rams reverted to normal, Jack attempted to retrieve his sword, but lost it due to a collapsing pillar. In the present, Jack and Ashi ride a giant bird to the mountain. Jack meditates to find his sword spiritually, leaving Ashi to guard him. Ashi faces an army sent to kill Jack and defeats them all. She confronts an assassin named the High Priestess, who turns out to be Ashi's mother. The High Priestess attacks Ashi with arrows, revealing Ashi's past. Ashi fights back and ultimately defeats her own mother. Meanwhile, in the spiritual realm, a monk informs Jack that he lacks balance, preventing him from finding the true path to his sword. Jack realizes that his anger and frustration are hindering him, and he dispels his own hallucination of himself. He then encounters the same deities, Odin, Ra, and Rama, who deem him worthy and restore his original appearance, as well as enhance his sword with the purity and strength of his spirit. Back in the physical world, Jack wakes Ashi from her unconscious state. Ashi compliments Jack on his regained appearance and the return of his sword's power. Jack thanks her for her help, and with the sword and confidence restored, they prepare to confront Aku in the final showdown that lays ahead of them. Randomly, a massive spacecraft crashes on Earth after colliding with an asteroid. Meanwhile, Jack and Ashi plan to cross the desert using a camel-like creature as a ferry. They sample food from the market and board the creature, but are surrounded by green tiger men with threatening intentions. While fighting off the tiger men, an unexpected attraction develops between Jack and Ashi. Realizing that it's a trap, they escape and continue on foot. After finding shelter from a sandstorm in the crashed spaceship, they discover it's a huge prison, mysteriously emptied of prisoners. Ashi is bitten by a leech-like creature, and Jack sucks out the poison, forming a deeper bond between them. They hear a screeching sound and decide to leave. As they navigate the ship, they encounter a massive swarm of leech creatures, forming a humanoid shape. They battle the leech swarm creature, but must retreat. Jack and Ashi find the ship's armory and learn about Lazarus 92, the creature chasing them. Ashi accidentally triggers a laser rifle and disrupts the instructions on how to use a weapon to kill Lazarus 92. Jack arms himself with the weapon, and Ashi equips a double-bladed spear and shield. They face Lazarus 92 again, and Ashi helps Jack to activate the weapon. They're attacked by the leeches, but manage to use the weapon to electrocute and neutralize them, curing their infections in the process. Recovering from the battle, Jack and Ashi embrace in a passionate kiss, finally realizing their feelings for each other. In the aftermath of the previous episode, Ashi and Jack awkwardly realize that they've been kissed under the influence of Lazarus 92's venom. Ashi finds new clothes while Jack fixes a broken water pipe. She finds clothing for herself and Jack, but when she finds Jack showering, she leaves his gi for him privately. Jack sees his bearded version in a reflection, warning him to be careful. They attempt small talk, and Jack shares his memory of home and life before Aku. Scaramouche arrives at Aku's lair and joyfully discovers that Jack's sword is lost. Aku confirms it and restores Scaramouche's body and dances in celebration. In the desert, Jack finds the Guardian's destroyed portal. Ashi confronts Jack about his departure. Jack explains his fear of losing everything to Aku's tyranny and suffering, but Ashi believes they're meant to defeat Aku together. Aku appears with Scaramouche, claiming he knows Jack lost his sword. Jack denies it, leading to Aku destroying Scaramouche. Aku senses a familiar essence and recognizes it in Ashi. Aku recalls giving essence to the cult of Aku, explaining Ashi's origins as the biological daughter of Aku. Jack attacks Aku, but Aku uses Ashi as a puppet, forcing her to fight Jack. Aku enhances Ashi's power, transforming her into a demonic version. Jack initially struggles against the transformed Ashi, but manages to break her sword and wound her, briefly reaching her. Ashi pleads for Jack to kill her to stop Aku's control. Jack couldn't do it, and Ashi is about to defeat him when Aku orders her to stop, claiming Jack's sword as his own. In the final episode, Jack's allies watch a live broadcast of Aku's plan to execute Jack. Aku reveals he plans for Ashi to kill Jack. As Ashi is about to stab Jack, his allies storm Aku's lair and a battle thus ensues. Jack escapes and tries to retrieve his sword, but is stopped by Ashi. Aku turns the blind archers and the woolies into smaller versions of himself. Jack's allies are overwhelmed, but the Scotsman and his daughters join the fight. Jack introduces Ashi as the one he loves, surprising the Scotsman. Aku rains spikes on the army, and Jack is swallowed by Ashi, who's under Aku's control. Jack confesses his love, breaking Ashi free. Ashi counters Aku's attacks and retrieves Jack's sword, creating a time portal. They return to the exact moment that Aku sends Jack into the future. Jack can now defeat Aku in the past and erase his future self. Aku tries to fight back, but is weakened. At long last, Jack destroys Aku and escapes with Ashi. After the battle, Jack and Ashi travel back to Jack's original time. They decide to get married in the process, but the triumphant moment is undercut by a heartbreaking revelation. Ashi's existence is intrinsically tied to Aku's essence. When Ashi disappears, Jack feels very sad, showing that he's deeply affected by her absence. This shows that their victory over Aku, although good, also has a sad side to it. The last scene shows Jack thinking deeply, and he meets a ladybug in a meaningful moment. He looks ahead with hope for a new beginning. And that's about it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this recap, then go back and leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.